علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. قرب بسني الماء. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين على ملك سليمان وما كفر سليمان ولكن الشياطين كفروا يعلمون الناس السحر. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. So continuing with the explanation of magic, as we heard in the previous lessons, that Bani Israel substituted the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for magic. And what is the reality of magic? So a brief overview. So the word magic, or sihr, it has many applications in terms of the Arabic language. However, there's two main branches of magic. One, there is actually a physical reality, and it's a kind of illusion. For example, we have like the Houdini type magic, which is the sleight of hand, which is actually optical illusions or something appearing to be something that really isn't. It's not really there. It's basically optical illusions. And then there's the type of magic which we're talking about here, which is not that. We're talking about a magic which is the invocation of shayateen, of the maradat shayateen, of the jinn, and calling them to play through various acts. And among the things which bring them into one's service is basically disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just as we said, the substitution of guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for magic, you have to substitute Allah's obedience for his disobedience. And substituting it may involve, many times, it may involve also the outright act of shirk and kufr, denial of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes, or denial of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the actual worship of those shayateen, or mentioning them of words of praise, remaining in states of impurity. Therefore, we find that it's very important that we keep ourselves, our clothing, our houses, and our places of work, etc., clean and pure in terms of the cleanliness, the shari cleanliness, because the shayateen, they like dirt and they like filth. So that type of magic which we're talking about here is that type of magic which is invoking the evil spirits, the evil jinn, and utilizing them, for evil purposes, as mentioned prolifically here in the ayat of Quran, the separation of man and wife, which is quite prevalent. And this practice has now become quite widespread. It's all over the world, and unfortunately, we have Muslims also participating in this and involving in these practices. However, one note, it's also quite common these days that anytime somebody has problems or difficulties, so immediately they start saying that I'm masfoor, I'm affected by magic. So in many cases, that's really not the case. It's perhaps, an affliction, a trial and tribulation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It might be mental disorders. That happens a lot these days. People confuse mental disorders for the effects of magic. However, there's ways of testing that and finding out what is the nature of the problem, the difficulty. And for that, there are specialists in that field. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from the ill effects of these practices, and moreover, save us from being attracted to the utilization of any of these evil practices, as the former nations had lost the way in doing so. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us all tawfiq. آخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.